after interviewing my two parties, my idea of success is generational wealth. Generational wealth and having a network. My idea of success is having a broad network and generational wealth. My idea of success is functionality. Functionality in what of what you can do as a creature. Functionality of what you can do as a creature. Generational wealth and having a network. Like like a spider building a spider web. My idea of success would be silk, silk and more silk. So I interviewed two people: Kevin Williams, a designer, a musician; Rachard Lofton, a head basketball coach at a college, a head basketball coach at a college. I asked both guys the same question. So a good question, a good question for me was a question I was interested in hearing an answer from them was I was interested in can they remember any rules or rule changes that have helped their career? That's that's a good question for my pertaining to my idea of success. That question was very important to what I would like to know. Well, what I'm asking: have there been any rules or rule changes that have helped their career? So I got two different answers. One answer from Kevin Williams was no. There has not been any rules or rule changes that has helped his career. No, straight up no. And Rashad Lofton says he wouldn't choose the same. Oh no, he says life lessons have been learned, and there's a time and a place for everything. And that really sums up his life. He said the life lessons have been learned. There's a time and a place for everything, and that really sums up his life. So when I got those answers, I wasn't really I wasn't misunderstood. Is not the question wasn't misunderstood, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. Most people have been most people that I've been studying or I've been reading about have been well, I'll give a better example. As Gladwell would say, hockey players. Hockey players, their birthdays are later in the year, and with that fact, they are on the hockey team. So there's a rule there goes a rule that will shape someone's career. So when I ask the question, I expected to get a different answer. So more things that I have asked were they didn't really have any obstacles. They kept business and personal separated. They stay out the way. They never know what tomorrow brings, and they do the best they can do. And well, when I interviewed both these guys, one person had more in depth answers, and the other person was more vague with his answers. So I feel that that relates to cultural differences. That relates to cultural differences and beliefs. Cultural differences and beliefs. I feel as if the interview might have not been important to either party. It might have not been important to either party, but I feel it was significant for a coach to be interviewed because they're coaching other human beings. They're not worried about selling things. They're not worried about things like that. So his career was more orientated to be interviewed. As a designer would, well, a designer should be interviewed also, but their careers, the cultural rhetoric that goes with their career path and their whole story is different. So that puts me in a different spot. I also asked the guys whose legacies are they following. So both guys are following their own legacies. They do their best and they stay prayed up. So nobody's. And that was also surprising to me. To for them to be following no one's legacy is also surprising for me, because as when a designer is designing, I would expect the designer to follow a big designer's legacy and build their portfolio around the designer's portfolio. But maybe that's not most important to Kevin Williams. Maybe something is more important to Kevin Williams, like finances. Maybe something is more important to Kevin Williams in his business. And Rachard Lofton is the head coach of a basketball team, and I would expect him to maybe he would look up to careers like Rick Pitino from Iona College or something like that, or another head coach, another head coach of basketball that he would shape his career around. He can go to a bigger school and coach at a bigger school, or go to the NBA and coach basketball. But instead, he didn't. He doesn't look at any legacies like that, and that was an awkward surprise for me also. When asked if I asked Kevin Williams how is he different, and he says he's rare and he's unique. He's rare and he's unique. So I guess it's a beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of thing. And when I asked Rachard Lofton, he said he doesn't find himself different from other people. He moves on his own drum. While there's he speaks as if there's a beat playing. He speaks as if there's a beat playing, and he moves to his own drum. And he can't dwell on the past because it will affect his future. So he acknowledges that there is a space to be different from other people. There is a space to be different from other people, but he just goes with the flow of life and beats to his own drum. And he can't dwell on the past. He can't dwell on the past because it may affect his future. As he's saying, he can see the future being the same as everyone else. He can't see the future being different. I asked the question that this question might be not as interesting to anybody. Not It's not as interesting to me, but it may interest someone. I'll reference Gladwell again. As far as the stories that Gladwell have are always about success, and they're always mentioning struggle and success. They're always giving a comparison of struggle and success. There were people working in rice fields with great attitudes. Then there were people working with terrible attitudes. So I asked, if they could start over today, would they be in the same place they are today? Kevin Williams says no, no, no. While Rachard Lofton says he wouldn't choose the same path and can't say he would do the same thing, but he doesn't have any regrets. So the answers are basically the same. The answers are basically the same, but they have no backing, as if they need Gladwell, as if they need to understand Gladwell, as if they need to say there were people working in rice fields, and for hours, and for 3,000 hours, people worked in rice fields. There's no way I would be who I am today if I had them helping me, or something like that. And then I asked what got them involved in their field. And their life is what got them involved in their field. So my other question, how did they have any obstacles, and if they could start over, I asked them what got them involved in their field. And Rachard Lofton was involved in his field because he was an athlete. He always loved it. And when I asked Kevin Williams, he said it was his friends, his surroundings, got him involved in wanting to design. Those were natural occurrences. Those were natural occurrences. As Gladwell states, like with her math problem, when Renee wanted to get the straight line, she kept trying over and over and over and over again. She was very persistent. So being who they are got them to where they wanted to be.